For the last 8 months, I've been getting plenty of comments asking about my 3D printed Gen 2 Plus night vision that I use in my night vision comparison videos. After releasing my second night vision comparison video, I got even more comments asking me to do a video on it. So here's a video on that build and how to possibly replicate something like that for yourself. Each section of this video is timestamped and linked in the description. If you want to understand why I did the build this way and each detail so you hopefully can replicate it, watch the whole video. If you just want a quick gist of it, skip here. After finishing my PVS69 video, I fell in love with night vision but wanted more out of it. The PVS69 was a very fun project to build, and it served me pretty well to the extent that I used it, but talking to people that have used both digital and analog night vision always said that analog night vision just had some special magic around it that digital lacked. After hearing this enough times, I decided I should look for a way to get my hands on analog night vision. To preface things, night vision is incredibly expensive and I'm incredibly broke. Two very contradicting things. Buying a factory new unit or build was way out of my budget, and even buying used was still a bit too expensive to justify at the time. That left me with pretty much one option: building an analog system myself. Please bear with me as I'm trying my best to simplify tons of information and do it in a quick script, so please add insights of your own in the comments. For those unfamiliar with analog systems, let's break it down real quick. Analog monoculators are made of 3 parts: the image intensifier tube, the lens, and the housing. The image intensifier tube, or the IIT, does the job of night vision. These are the most expensive part of any system. As in the name, they intensify light by turning photons into electrons, then multiplying the amount of electrons. These electrons then hit a phosphor screen that produces the image. This is a major simplification of this process, but Photonis has a quick minute video that explains this well for those curious. The objective lens focuses light to the IIT, and the eyepiece, or ocular lens, makes the phosphor screen usable up close. The last part of the analog monocular is the housing. The housing holds all of the components together and powers the IIT. It's pretty much the lower receiver of the NVG. If I got any of this wrong, please correct me in the comments. For a while, one of the best ways to get into analog night vision on a budget was by building your own PVS14 with a used MX10160 or 11769 image intensifier tube and a PVS14 parts kit. This recently has gotten popular enough that it really does not save you any money over buying a used complete unit with a similar intensifier tube. As an example, a used Gen 3 Omni 6, 7, or 8 contract PVS14 goes for around 1.7K to 2.2K. A new PVS14 parts kit goes for around $700, and an Omni 6, 7, 8 image intensifier tube generally goes for 1 to 1.5K. So together you are looking once again at 1.7 to 2.2K. In all honesty, a used Omni 7 or Omni 8 PVS14 for around $1,850 is probably one of the best price to capability ratios right now. I currently have an Omni 8 PVS14 and absolutely love it. If this is more of your price range, a video discussing the Omni lines, specs, and the $15 to $2,000 budget range is coming soon in this series. For me, as previously stated, this was still too expensive, and I think this is where a lot of people start looking for digital or Gen 1 alternatives, but I didn't want to give up yet. I wanted to experience the magic of analog night vision. After asking around on a few Discords, I found the best places to look for good deals on night vision parts was Discord, eBay, TaxSwap, or Reddit. I already had experience using Discord and eBay, so I decided to look there first. Quick interjection as someone's going to ask, on Discord, the best places to look are going to be the r/nightvision Discord, the Tactical Development Discord, and the r/nightvision EU Discord. I will interject again later in the video to kind of talk more about why. Those are all great places to look for consistent good deals. While once again with this type of stuff you're going to have to wait, it's not going to always be common. This is the best place to look for a consistent deal. To find absolute steals, you're going to have to kind of look on eBay. The people in these Discords, they know what they have most of the time, but want to give a good deal. eBay, sometimes people will list things they're not fully sure of what they have, and it'll go for really low. But that's very rare. If you're trying to find something consistent, look on Discord. If you're really trying to look for a crazy good steal, I'd look on eBay. Ideally, look on both. Once again, I'll revisit this later in the video. If you have any questions, just please ask in the comments, I'll answer. After a bit of searching, I found a rebranded 43mm Photonis Gen 2 Plus XD4 image intensifier tube. While most MX10160s or standard tubes with the performance of this go for around $800 to $1,000, because this tube was an MX868 43mm fat inverter tube that couldn't fit into any standard housings, it was listed for $450. After talking to the seller for a bit and researching possible housings, I bought the tube as it seemed to fit all of my criteria. I started to do some research, and after a lot of digging, I learned it likely had a minimum of 22 SNR, 64 resolution, and a FOM of 1408, which is in line with most early and low-end Gen 2 Plus tubes. With my tube in hand, I started doing research on housings and found a 3D printable housing by a user named TotoMagFed. He's designed tons of different monocular and binocular housings meant for non-standard image intensifier tubes, and one of his designs was made for the MX868 style tube. I bought the design, printed it, and started my build. The build was pretty straightforward and had very detailed instructions, but I did have some hiccups in hardware sourcing. As Toto is from Europe, some of the parts in this build cannot be easily sourced in the US. Luckily, I DM'd him on Discord and he made an American version of the housing for me, free of charge. Let's go over the housing features. The housing is incredibly simple, but works just fine. It takes a single CR123A battery and gets around 40 hours of battery life. It has a push button for on and off and has 1/4 by 20 threads on its side, making it compatible with PVS-14 style mounts and J-arms. In my opinion, this is pretty much everything you need for a basic lightweight monocular. There are two main versions of the housing, both using PVS-14 style eyepieces, but one uses a PVS-14 objective and the other uses a C-mount style objective lens. To save money on my eyepiece, I bought a used Chinese PVS-14 ocular for around $90 on Discord. While spending $250 on a mil-spec eyepiece would obviously yield better performance, this was out of my budget, and objective lens performance is more important to performance than the eyepiece. Initially, I used a 25mm f1.4 C-mount style lens that I got for around $25 off Amazon, as it was substantially cheaper than PVS-14 style glass and provided a true 1x view when paired with the PVS-14 style eyepiece. The C-mount lens had loads of distortion and bad light transmission, but it worked and substantially outperformed any digital system I had used at the time. With the C-mount lens and the Chinese eyepiece, I had my analog binocular up and running for around $610, which is just insane for any true analog night vision, and only $160 more than the extremely popular NVG30. And I hate to be that guy, especially in the budget sphere, but true analog night vision is a totally different world than anything digital. With no delay, zero refresh rate, and that circular view, it just feels like a contact lens that lets you see in the dark. I was extremely happy and loved everything about my new monocular. I made 2 night vision comparison videos with it in this state. If you're interested in seeing how it held up to an NVG10, NVG30, a PVS-69 Echo, and even a Psionics Opsin, I have those videos linked in the description and will include segments of it in the performance section of this video. Eventually it was time to upgrade the glass. To stay budget but get better edge-to-edge clarity and light transmission, I got some Chinese lightweight PVS-14 style glass that goes for around $250 to $300 for both the eyepiece and the objective lens. Now that you have an idea on how I personally did this, let's make some basic baseline instructions on how to recreate this. As previously stated, the most important part of your build is going to be the image intensifier tube. You need to find either a Gen 2, Gen 2 Plus, or Gen 3 tube. Gen 1 doesn't cut it, as most Gen 1 tubes don't image intensify. To keep this cost effective, you want your tube to cost less than $800, ideally less than $700. As the minimum cost of clean 10160s and other PVS-14 compatible tubes is around $800 to $1,000 used, to get clean tubes, you are going to have to look for non-standard image intensifier tubes. Here's a quick list of some of the tubes I would look for. The best way to do this is by looking for tubes and devices on night vision market forums or discords. I recommend looking on the r/night vision discord, TaxSwap, eBay, and especially European night vision servers, as Europe has a lot of cheap non-standard tubes and older 10160s for amazing prices. Once you find a tube listed, cross-reference it with the AUNV tube data and Omni classification datasheet to find its minimum specs and any needed information. If you find a device that is listed that is Gen 2 or Gen 3 but cannot be mounted to a helmet, do some research on the device to see what type of tube it has inside. Once you've identified the performance of the tube and its format, research if there are any housing options on the market or printable housings. In my criteria, a housing must have a true 1x magnification, take standard glass, and be easily helmet mountable. TotoMagFed has monocular housings for the following non-standard tubes. While there are not tons of available housings on the market for non-standard tubes, do your research and you would be surprised. If you do not own a 3D printer, look into a 3D printing service online. To keep this part cost effective, try to keep the housing cost under $100. For glass, to keep costs down, I recommend Chinese PVS-14 glass off Alibaba or a C-mount combo. Ideally keep this under $250 for both the eyepiece and objective. All of these prices are possible and I have seen them plenty of times. This does not mean these deals and tubes are common by any means though. You'll have to be patient and diligent in your search. You are going to have to buy used, but dollar to performance, this is about as good as it gets before you get into the Omni market. And trust me, this is well worth it over digital. Now, because this is more a tutorial on how to build your own and source your own parts, performance is not going to be the same for everyone, but I thought now would be a good time to kind of show you or give you a general idea of what type of performance this tube could have. So I'm going to include some clips from my previous videos of night vision comparisons. So if you're interested, those will be linked in the description. And then also I'll just have some generalized clips that don't have much information in them besides the glass type that I'm using with it and if it's compared to something else. So enjoy. And real quick, because I'm not, including as much information in each frame just to save time, if you have any questions about a specific clip, leave a timestamp in the comments and I'll try to answer any questions you have about that. When I tell a lot of people my story about building this, they kind of doubt the price and think I got really lucky. And while I partially did, While I've been making this video, I have talked to, talking in the community about making this video, I ran into a couple of people that have done this on their own. There are 2 people that were happy enough to provide a whole bunch of videos and some notes on how they did it personally. And I kind of want to quickly share it with you, saying like these are similar things that can be replicated. And in my opinion, actually, these people did it better than me. So, take that as you will, and let's get right into it. This is unscripted. So, So the first one that was done was a Gen 3 monocular from an ATN device. He built this in total for under $800 using a PVS-69 Alpha monocular, and this actually includes a mil-spec objective. His tube was around $450, and it was taken out of a fixed 5x zoom ATN night vision device, I believe. So he basically found the tube on eBay, the night vision device, and was like, hey, I think that there's this 10160 in this, a standard tube. He bought that. He was able to take the Gen 3 tube out of it. So his tube was $450 essentially. The glass was $270 combined, and the housing was $70. So that all total adds up to around $790, I believe. And that is like an absolutely amazing deal. That's a great way, and very similar price to what I did, arguably better performance because it's Gen 3. In fact, I'm just going to probably say likely just better performance and in a really nice housing. You can see it's a great build. Looks super clean. Another person I talked to actually kind of did something very standard in this community still, but just a little bit different. They went and found blend tubes with like bad blems but not completely unserviceable, that are standard format, but have pretty bad blems. But all of these I would still consider usable. So he did a Gen 3 PVS-7 build using a PVS-7D/B housing. He was around $800 total in for it. He got the tube for $280, which is an absolute steal, and around $500 for the housing. So that's already an amazing price to capability ratio. Another build he did personally was a M2021 Lighten M873A, and that is basically he took a old Lighten PVS-7 image intensifier, that's MX10130, put it in an M2021 housing, which is these like Chinese housings that take PVS-7 sized image intensifier tubes, and kind of built that out with some parts, and he basically had the entire thing up and running for $790, which once again, just absurdly good for Gen 3 night vision. He got that tube because it was blended for around $350. Last one he did was with a 10160, a Lighten M890, which is basically a 10160A. He paid like around $400 for the tube, and the housing was $430 on eBay. So altogether, he was around $800 for a pretty clean looking monocular, and I believe that this one is a Alexi monocular. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's waterproof, decent glass, Gen 3, all in for $800. So kind of what I'm saying with all this is like people have done this. This is repeatable if you know how to do it and where to look. This is totally repeatable. You just got to be patient and wait. If you're gonna go out, if you want clean tubes, you're probably gonna have to go non-standard and search for funny devices. If you want blend tubes, this is totally doable. Quick thanks to those people for being willing to share their builds and share pictures of it with me.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I know that was a lot of information really quickly. So if there's anything I can clear up for you guys, please just ask in the comment section. I want to make this all as clear as possible and really provide it as a resource to people, because I think most people, when they hear analog night vision, they immediately think, oh, it's got to be like $3,000, $4,000, when that really couldn't be like further from the truth. It's still expensive, but there are ways to get it even cheaper than a lot of people think. And even the people that are like, oh, you can actually get a PVS-14 for $2,000, that's bare minimum entrance. As I just shown, that's not true. You can go even lower. So I really want to help people know that and create a better resource there. So any questions you have or any insights that you have, please leave them in the comments. If you know good places to look that I didn't mention, please leave it. If you're asking for more specifics, please ask. I don't just view my comments as a place to, you know, for feedback for me, but also as a place of discussion for you guys. So, you know, please get in there, ask away. As I already said, thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot. You guys are making so much stuff possible. And because of your guys' support, the pretty much next year of this channel, its main focus is going to be a budget night vision series. And it's going to be super, I don't know the word, but it's going to cover pretty much everything from, you know, like no money, like we're saying less than $250, up to budget range that are like $4,000, you know, and just like everything between. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about budget lambs and everything. And it's not going to just be like a product review, but each video is going to be more like a guide on what you can get with your money, right? So I'm super excited about that. This is the first installment kind of in this series. But there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. The next one's going to be on the Omni 8, Omni Series PVS 14s. That's going to be around your, you know, $2,000. I'd say the best range is $1,500 to $2,000 range. If that's your range for night vision, I'll have a video kind of talking about that price range. There's going to be even, you know, things up to the $4,000 range, which is like the absolute end of, I don't want to say compromise, but it's as far as I kind of want to go up, as you're looking through a 18 UM 2500 FOM PVS 14 L3 white phos unfilmed, which is just like one of the highest end image intensifier tubes you can get. So you're looking through just a crazy high end night vision tube right now, and that's why it looks so good. So it's going to be a really comprehensive guide. It's going to be multiple videos, multiple installs. I'm really excited to bring it to you because it's really fun to me to build. And, you know, you guys are able to make this possible. Like the tube that you're looking through right now is on loan from my sponsor, Midwest Night Vision. Without you guys, that wouldn't just be possible. So, you know, I'm trying to give back to you guys. So if you guys have any ideas that you want to see in that series, please let me know. You know, this video is one of the first highly asked videos on the channel, so I'm making it right now, and I'm excited to get out there. So once again, thank you guys so much. I'm going to end the video because it is absurdly cold. I'm wearing like 3 layers and a insulated poncho. I'm still freezing to death. It's just one of those Midwest winters. So I really appreciate all your guys' support, and thank you guys so much.